morning, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. Today, I would like to share with you my research titled The Effects of Respiratory Therapy on Pulmonary Functions for Patients with Cerebral Palsy. My name is Erika Kolumbán. I'm a conductor-teacher working at András Pető faculty. And my research was conducted with the kind support of my supervisor, Ibolya Túri, Mark Hernátfői, Dániel Veres, and Ádám Zolcsák. As a conductor-teacher working every day with children with disabilities, my vision is to improve the life quality of cerebral palsy patients through a better rehabilitation and to contribute to the recognition of the Hungarian conductive education system. With this in mind, my mission is to improve the condition of cerebral palsy patients by applying evidence-based breathing exercises in their rehabilitational care. So, in order to achieve my mission, we set two specific goals, and these two projects are connected with respiratory exercises and cerebral palsy patient. Let me introduce first of all my first project, which focus on the effects of additional respiratory therapy on pulmonary functions for patients with CP. To the background, allow me some information because cerebral palsy is still the most common disability among the children, and we know that cerebral palsy affects not just the neuromuscular system, but also a respiratory system too, and therefore is still a leading cause of death among these patients. Despite the fact that a child with cerebral palsy undergo conventional therapy, which means conductive education, neurodevelopmental approaches, in this regimen, there are not included additional respiratory therapy. However, there are existing respiratory therapy with the help of a device, series of breathing exercises, or manual techniques. So we expect that adding breathing exercises to the conventional care will improve the pulmonary function, but moreover, the quality of life in children with CP. So specifically, the question is, does the additional physical respiratory therapy improve the pulmonary functions compared to the conventional one? So we focused on the measurable changes on pulmonary functions and quality of life, and we hypothesized that we will find a great benefit on improving the pulmonary functions. Our team conducted a systematic search on 5 databases with the specific domains, and we could identify at the end 12 eligible articles. We get as a major outcome measures the mean difference, and we finished the analysis of the pulmonary functions such as forced vital capacity, forced expiratory volume in first second, the proportion between these values, and the peak expiratory flow. All these pulmonary functions values are highly important because they correlate with the physical condition and the participation of CP children in the daily activities. Let me show to you our first results regarding the forced vital capacity. As you see, we divided the studies in two. On the upper plots, you see the studies measured in liter and under in percentage. All of the studies included are randomized control trial, and on the right side of the null zero line, you find the studies with the benefit to the intervention group. On the left side, to the control group. We found in this, as a result, a high heterogeneity, and we identified as a ground for it the different intervention, the length of the intervention, and different population included in the studies. On the next side, the next value which we analyzed is the same structure of the plots, and we find here also on the same, because of the same grant, a high heterogeneity but no outlier studies. So the most of the intervention there are on the favor of intervention groups. The proportion between these two values, it's moderate with a moderate heterogeneity, showed us an outlier study from Khanna et al. And it's because randomization issues, and we don't know what kind of CP population he included in his clinical trial. The last but not least peak expiratory flow value after the intervention shows us a moderate heterogeneity and also a statistically significant pooled effect in the studies measured in percentage. But it's more important that all the results, what we found, all the pool effects are clinically important because it's more than 10% on the favor of the intervention group. So we know, we are aware of it, that we have some limitation related to the quality of life data and the high heterogeneity, but we are happy to be able to identify the sources of the heterogeneity, and the strength of our analysis is that only randomized control trials are included. As a conclusion, we would suggest to add additional respiratory therapy in the conventional care, and as an implication for the further research, we need to investigate how it affects the quality of life of our patients. Here you can see the status of my work and my plans for the next months. And now let me move on our next project, which is effects of the conductive breathing exercises on pulmonary function of school-age children with cerebral palsy. And here we would like to write a study protocol, and after that to conduct a randomized control trial. To the background, you can see the photo from András Pető, who was a Hungarian physician who invented and established a very innovative and novel conductive education system in the late 50s in Hungary. This very effective and complex rehabilitation system, it was a game changer in that time and spread worldwide around 80s. One novelty of this complex rehabilitation system is because it's already included in this system the breathing exercises in order to improve the pulmonary function and the health-related quality of life of our patient. So regrettably, we don't have a clear protocol left from András Pető, so that's why we aim to write a new protocol based on his manuscripts. And specifically, we would like to know if this new protocolized breathing exercise will change the pulmonary function and will lead to a better quality of life of our patient. And we will focus on measurable changes in pulmonary function, muscle tone, and especially on quality of life test. We expect that this new protocol will improve the pulmonary function and quality of life of our patient. As a first step, we made a content analysis for the whole manuscripts written by András Pető, more than 8,000 pages, and we found more than 1,700 hits linked to the breathing exercises, containing advices, recommendation to the daily schedule, to the technique, and and to the diagnosis. So that was our first step, and with this knowledge we will be able to write the new protocolized breathing exercises. In summary, here are my 2 projects and my plan for the next month to finish them. And let me finish my presentation with a quote from Winston Churchill: "Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm." And thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you for your really interesting presentation. And let me ask one thing. Do you know any reason for it till now there is no trial or a protocol for these better methods?
I think we as a faculty and also in the history, the conductive departments belongs to the education system and after that to the healthcare system, and the most of the research were conducting in the field of the education. And as a conductor teacher, as a senior conductor teacher, I had a lot of experience and cases with my patients, with my children, and also personally I experienced the importance of proper breathing exercises in my life, and that's why I noticed there is a lack in our system, and I would like to contribute and to provide evidence.
My question has 2 parts. The first part is that have you tried to consider the severity of the disease? And the second part is, I'm not an expert on this topic, but as far as I know, cerebral palsy is a group of diseases with several subtypes. And have you tried to consider these subtypes? Because in my opinion, maybe in subtypes where spasticity dominates, maybe the results will be better compared where ataxia dominates or something like that.
Thank you very much for your question. This is really an important point, that also one of the limitations of this meta-analysis is, as I mentioned, and the cause of the high heterogeneity is because the severity of the population included. So we included all the studies with CP population, but of course the severity of the disability, it's correlate and strictly parallel decrease or increase together with the severity of the motor impairment. So therefore it would be really important to detect studies or to analyze also subgroups regarding spastical or kinetic syndromes and so on. But also there are a limited randomized control trial on this field.